Today we're looking back at the 2008 Cup Finals between the Red Wings and Penguins. The Wings began the playoffs after a President's Trophy winning season, and faced off with the Nashville Predators in the Western Conference quarterfinals. With Dominik Hasek struggling, the Wings replaced him with Chris Osgood mid-series, and went on to defeat the Preds in 6 games. The Wings swept the Avs in round 2, during which Johan Franzen scored 9 goals. The Wings then took down the Stars in 6 games to win their 5th Clarence Campbell Bowl in franchise history. On the Eastern Conference side, the Penguins entered the playoffs after winning the Atlantic Division, and finishing second in the East during the regular season. The Penguins swept the Senators in round 1, and took down the Rangers in 5 games in round 2. In the conference finals, the Pens vanquished the Flyers in 5 games to punch their ticket to the finals. The 2008 Stanley Cup Finals marked the first time that the Red Wings and Penguins met in postseason play, and the first time since the 1909 World Series that professional sports teams from Detroit and Pittsburgh met in a postseason series or game. The series opened at the Joe Louis Arena in Detroit. After a scoreless opening frame, the Wings got on the board in the second period thanks to a wraparound goal from Samuelsson. Samuelsson scored his second of the game early in the third period, and Dan Cleary increased the Wings' lead with a shorty late in the final frame. Henrik Zetterberg added a power play goal with just 13 seconds remaining, and Chris Osgood recorded his second shutout of the playoffs, as the Wings dominated the Pens 4-0 in Game 1. Before Game 2, Penguins coach Michel Therrien inserted veteran Gary Roberts into the lineup, but the move did little to spark the Pens' attack. Brad Stewart opened the scoring for the Wings with a slap shot goal early in the first period, and Thomas Holmstrom added to Detroit's lead just past the midway mark of the opening frame. The Wings were up 2-0 before the Pens had registered their first shot on net. Neither team scored in the second period, and Filppula gave the Wings a 3-0 lead midway through the third period. The Penguins couldn't beat Osgood, who recorded his second consecutive shutout in the Wings' 3-0 victory. The series shifted to Pittsburgh for Game 3, where the Penguins had won 16 consecutive games. Sidney Crosby scored the Penguins' first goal of the series late in the first period, and then Sid the Kid gave the Penguins a 2-0 lead with a power play goal early in the second frame. Franzen pulled the Wings to within 1 with a power play goal late in the second, but Adam Hall restored the Penguins' 2-goal lead just over 7 minutes into the third period. Samuelsson scored to pull the Wings to within 1. But it was too little too late, as the Pens held on for their first victory of the series. Marian Hossa opened the scoring for the Penguins early in Game 3, but Nicklas Lidstrom answered back for the Wings less than 5 minutes later. The game remained deadlocked until Jiri Hudler scored to give the Red Wings the lead early in the third period. The Wings held on to win the game 2-1, and were heading back home with a chance to win the Stanley Cup. In Game 5 back at the Joe Louis Arena, the Penguins jumped out to a 2-0 first period lead thanks to goals from Marian Hossa and Adam Hall. But the Wings came storming back in period 2 with 3 consecutive goals from Darren Helm, Pavel Datsyuk, and Brian Rafalski to take a 3-2 lead. It looked like Detroit was going to hang on to win the cup, but Max Talbot scored with just 34 seconds remaining to force overtime. The game remained deadlocked through 2 overtime periods, until Peter Sikora scored the game-winning goal in OT number 3 to send the series back to Pittsburgh for Game 6. Back in Pittsburgh, the Whiteout geared up to help their Pens force a Game 7 back in Detroit. The Wings opened the scoring early in the first period of Game 6 on a goal from Brian Rafalski, and took a 2-0 lead thanks to a goal from Filppula shortly before the midway mark of period number 2. Malkin got one back for the Penguins with less than 5 minutes remaining in the middle frame, but a third period shot by Detroit's Henrik Zetterberg squeezed through the legs of Marc-Andre Fleury and restored the Wings' 2-goal lead. Hossa scored a late goal with the goalie pulled to cut the Wings' lead to 1, but it was too little too late. The Wings held on, and Nicklas Lidstrom became the first European-born captain to hoist the Stanley Cup. Zetterberg was named playoff MVP, and Kronwall, Samuelsson, and Zetterberg entered the Triple Gold Club. That's it for this look back at the 2008 Stanley Cup Finals. Thanks for tuning in. Please like and subscribe.